guys, it's Julien, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make cosmic techno melodies like Spektre and Hidden Empire. Now, to go along with this video, I just dropped a new sample pack which is called 10 Techno Melodies Volume 2. What this is, as the title would have you believe, it's 10 different techno melodies that I've written in this style, and you can see with all of these, you get the loop, you get the melody with like the tail ringing out with the reverb and stuff, and then you get the MIDI. And so this gives you a lot of different stuff to work with and to really tear these melodies apart and, be able to make these for yourself. And not just that, but also, you just get some cool melodies to work with. So the link to this is at the top of the description. I'll play a few of these for you really quick. So yeah, like I said, link to this is in the top of the description. With this pack, you also get 10 bonus rumble kicks made by yours truly. So you can hear these are pretty solid as well. It's a really great sample pack if you're looking for some resources to write these types of tracks and write these types of melodies and elaborate on the things that we're going to be talking about in this video. Link to that is at the top of the description. It's just $10 and it's a great way to support me if you guys want to see me keep making these videos for you and keep showing you new stuff. Yeah, link to that is at the top of the description, as I've said enough times. Now we are going to get into the video. So I've got this little melody, or this little synth in front of me, sort of like the standard style of synth you would hear with these kind of melodies. And I'm going to be using this. We're going to be writing a melody, and I'm going to use this to show you a few techniques that I picked up on. So we're going to start by making a MIDI clip. I'll do a little 4-bar. Let's make a loop. And the first thing that I picked up on listening to these tracks, and that I think is really important for making these types of melodies, is to stay in a minor key. This may seem kind of obvious. For techno, you always want to be in a minor key for the most part. Like, even when there is a track that sounds kind of major, or maybe you'll look at Beatport and it'll say that a track is in a major key, oftentimes it's a minor key, but then they're just kind of playing with notes within that to give it a more major feel. And the reason why we do a minor key is simply because it's sad. It has a lot more like depth to it in that regard, just having that more sad kind of like emotional feel. Like I'll write a melody just to show you. Like, let's say our melody is like this. That sounds pretty sad in the minor key, and it has like a lot of depth to it. It feels very techno. Listen to what happens if I just move this up and put it in a major key. It's like that just doesn't sound like anything you would hear in these types of tracks, but all of a sudden you bring that down to the minor third. And there we go. So yeah, that's the first thing. You really want to stick to a minor key. Again, like, it's just not going to sound right if it's in a major key. That being said, if you do want to have kind of a more major feel, or maybe you don't just want like a sad, dark, evil melody in every single track, there's a lot that you can do within minor keys to kind of give them a more major feeling. And what I mean by this is essentially you can play around with the fifth, and then there's this other note here which will be one note up from the fifth. So as you guys may know already, the fifth in a scale is just 7 notes up from the root. So if we double this and we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go, there's the fifth. And the thing with the fifth is if you play it, you can play it like that note, the fifth, and you can also play this note that's 1 note up. That's in key with this. The thing is that you can kind of play with that note that's 1 note up. And let's just say we do like this. Yeah, it's maybe a little bit more complex than I would usually go for. Maybe I would usually use less notes, like we could just do 4 notes by doing this. But there we go, you can hear we're still in that same exact minor key. We're in D sharp minor, we're using the same notes we were using before. But now by bringing in this note down here, which is just 1 note up from the fifth, or you could use the fifth, you're already getting a more sort of like major and less like dark, while still having that sort of like strong feeling to it that you would get with a minor key. So that's the first thing. Always stick to a minor key. And if you want it to have more depth or to kind of have a bit more nuance and not just be like a sad minor melody, play around with the fifth and that note that's one note up from the fifth. The second thing that I think is really, really important for these melodies is they need to be simple. Like, what I mean by this is usually when you listen to these tracks, like from Hidden Empire or Spektre or like Baiko and MT93, Pleasurecraft, all these people putting out tracks in this style, the melodies are never more than like maybe 3 or 4 notes, maybe 5 notes or 6 notes if you really like have a story to tell with your melody, but it's never usually more than just like 3 or 4 notes. And the reason for this is really just because it's like it makes it more catchy. I feel like with techno, it's like you have all this stuff happening in a mix where people are playing your tracks, and you have all these tracks playing around it, and it's like if you just have a melody, like let's say we just write a melody that'll be like super busy, like it's all gonna be in key, but we're gonna make it like this. It's like, it's very hard to remember that. The more notes that you add, the less memorable your melody is going to be. And we could even do, like, more, too. Like, I'm sure you guys have all heard melodies like this, where it's like, it's just too much stuff to really take in. But if you have all this crazy stuff happening, lots of percussion, lots of, like another track being mixed over yours, and then say you just have, like, a super simple melody. Like, say your melody is just like this. Say like that's just 3 notes and it's really simple, it's easy to follow. It's gonna stand out a lot more and it's gonna be a lot more memorable. And so this is why we go for simpler melodies. It's not just to make it like, stupid or too simple to where like anybody can pick it up. It's just meant to be more, again, like making it more catchy, because it's just simply easier to remember if you have less notes happening. So that's another tip. Is just keeping it really simple is always gonna be better. The next thing is, with having it be simple, you also have to make sure that it's catchy. And what I mean by this is, you could have a simple melody that's like this is, in theory, a simple melody. But that's not so catchy, it's kind of just da 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 da. Like, it's not really very memorable. There's nothing super exciting about that. So you need to try and write these simple melodies where you're really aiming to make something that the listener can connect with emotionally and also just remember. You want this to like be like when you're working on your track. Like, this is how I always gauge it. When you're working on your track, if I can remember the melody an hour or two after I'm out of the studio and just doing something completely different, that's when it's like something really catchy. It's like if you can still remember it after you've been working on it for a while, that's what you want to try to aim for. And there's a few different ways that you can do that. I think definitely keeping it simple is one way, because of course, give your brain less to remember, right? Like, it's easier to remember 3 notes than it is to remember 6 notes. But also, there are other ways to do it where you can kind of like play around with the arrangement of your notes, sort of like, let's say we have like this melody. Like, let's say we just have this thing. And we're trying to think of where to go next. Let's shorten those notes a little. Then what you could do is just kind of like use the same notes, but just switch around the arrangement. Now this time, when this comes in a second time, we'll move that note down, and those will go up. So it's the same thing, same pattern, everything that you've already heard the first time, and the same notes. They're just in a little bit of a different order. And see how that's a little bit catchier and a little bit easier to remember? Let's even maybe try like this. There we go. So this is something I've noticed a lot in these tracks that these people do. And, like, again, I think it just is a really good way of using the same notes that you've already used and the same pattern that people are going to remember if you repeat it. But this way, you're not trying to throw in so much extra stuff. It's just kind of making something catchy using, like, the bare minimum. And I think that's really the key here, is just trying to make the most out of, like, the least, if that makes any sense. Like, just trying to come up, just come up with 3 good notes that work really well together. Maybe they could be, like, this. Maybe it could even be 4 notes. Like, it could be like this. Or something like that, but just getting those simple notes, getting a little rhythm going, like this little first passage here, and then just try switching it around. It's not really that hard, but this can definitely be the kind of thing that I think can give people a little bit of a hard time with these patterns. It's just like trying to figure out, like, how do you make something catchy? There's not really a theory to that. And yeah, that's the thing. There isn't really, like, music theory that can make your song catchier. It's just kind of like, little tips and tricks you can pick up on from listening to these tracks that have already been successful. Now, the last piece of advice that I'm going to give you for this, and this is something I've been really trying to work on lately, is out of key notes can be fun at certain points. And what I mean by this is, obviously, you're always trying to have everything be in the same key, of course. This is all D sharp minor. That being said, with this style, you can kind of throw in a few different little notes here and there. Like, we have 3 notes here. Let's say our 4th note is going to be D. And now if you listen, it gives it, like, something kind of, like, dark and, like, almost, like, classical sounding, But then when you come right back to that D sharp there, it feels really strong. And yeah, so I definitely recommend playing around with those as well, because those can add, like, a lot of flavor and character to your melody, which is going to add to the overall, like, how much people remember it and how easy it is to start singing along and how catchy it is and all of that. So definitely recommend playing around with those. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for this one. That is all of the tips that I wanted to show you in this video. Hopefully this video helped you. I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, so as always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get my new 10 Techno Melodies Volume 2 sample pack, which includes the free bonus Rumble kicks for just $10. Link is right at the top of the description. Again, tons of really good really good and catchy melodies in here. You get the loop, you get the full loop with the tail, as well as the MIDI, so you can really work with these and tear them apart and make some really cool tracks out of them. I look forward to hearing these in your tracks, guys. And yeah, like I said, link is at the top of the description. Thank you very much, everybody, and I will see you in the new year.